What's up, guys? Back again as promised. All right, next game up is a Nin game, actually. I decided to go back and play some more Nin the Pain Artist because it just sort of seems like the balm to soothe the soul during these trying times. And my first match, actually back with this deck, was up against Derevi Imperial Tactician, a commander I've talked about quite a bit in the past when it originally came out. Kind of a commander I said was felt very overrated to me, primarily because it suffers from the same problem that a lot of really powerful utility commanders have, which is that without solid support, the commander just isn't that impressive. It's just a 2/3 flyer that can tap stuff that is pesky and hard to get rid of. Obviously, theft is the primary way to deal with Derevi, since you can no longer tuck it. I guess it's kind of been the rule for a while. Maybe I'm showing my boomer age by saying that, but yeah, there was a time when you could make commanders go inside of somebody's deck, which was a way to deal with cards like Derevi, which are much more problematic now that they can just repeatedly play it from the command zone over and over and over again. But overall, I haven't found this commander to be too challenging. Like with any deck, if they get a good cohesive draw, they can beat you with some of the other cards. But the commander itself really isn't that powerful in my opinion. Certainly not compared to the might of Nin the Pain Artist. And I've got a kind of acceptable draw. I'm only keeping this because I've got Fire Ice and 2 sources of mana. I don't like starting the game with Cyclonic Rift in my hand. Fabricate is really nice, obviously, because it'll give me a route to Crypto Soul Ring as the game unfolds. And I do have a counterspell, although that's not very good against this commander. But having Fabricate actually, provided I'm able to draw a few more land, does give me an out into the Vidalcan Shackles, which is obviously a full-time solution to Derevi. So I will keep the hand. And I'm going to call him Procky. That's probably how it's pronounced. Mr. Procky is going to be going first, it looks like. And all he's got is a Tropical Island, fortunately, to lead it off. All right. I'm just looking to draw land here more than anything. Forbid. Not bad, but really not the kind of card I want to see right now. Oh, and he plays Chrome Mox turn 2, and he suspends Kitaki War's Wage. Interesting card to have in a deck with Chrome Mox, but perhaps he doesn't have very many artifacts. And this is actually a good play. I like to see this. A lot of people will just not cast their Derevi. They'll just try to put it into the command zone at instant speed instead. And I do like just playing it on turn 2 if you have the ability to. Obviously, it's rare to do that. It does require a Mox Diamond or a Chrome Mox usually to make that happen. But it is a pretty powerful play turn 2. And he's actually untapping his land. So because he didn't tap the Delta, I have the ability. I guess I could always sack it during upkeep, but I'm not going to sack it. I'm just hoping to draw another land. And I'm rewarded with a totally useless Mox Opal. Sigh. All right. I wish I had sacked my land, but you can't really know. And I'm actually doing this during upkeep. So during upkeep, there's a quick glance at the deck for those of you who might want the 1v1 list. I'm doing this during upkeep because I'm fully intending to just cycle the Fire Ice on the Tropical Island here to cut him off of green for a turn. And I'm finally get another mana source for that, which is very, very nice to see. Gemstone Cavern is kind of a strange card to see as well. He's all about getting his guy out quickly. All right, that untaps his land. And he taps 4 mana post-combat. And I see double white, and I'm thinking that's got to be some kind of a Planeswalker while I'm tapped out, which is extra annoying. And he's got something even worse in many respects. Linvala totally shuts down my commander in perpetuity, and it's a 3/4 flyer, so I'm under a pretty robust clock already. All right, good, another island. All right, well, as much as I'd love to sit on counter magic, this obviously doesn't work because he can just tap down my lands during the attack step and then have free reign during his main step. So I got to be proactive here as much as I'd like to sit on counter magic, given the fact that he's got quite a bit of mana, a minimum of probably 5 next turn. So I'm going to fabricate. And I feel I don't have time to get Vidalcan Shackles. I just have to get mana. And my long-term plan actually is to just hopefully hit another artifact. I can't use Nin, obviously, but to rift him during end step, hopefully. And then counterspell the Linvala when it comes back out. And then that'll allow me to get a Nin activation off a little down the road. And obviously that's looking really far ahead. It's going to require me to take quite a bit of damage, but I don't really have much of a choice here. Oh boy. All right, what's he tapping now? Oh my god, Edric, Spine Master of Trust. Ay. Well, he's not banned in this format. And he can even be your commander. And I'm taking 5, and he's drawing 2 and generating 2 mana. Pretty insane. I really don't... There's not really much I can do right now. I just got to hope he doesn't have a great follow-up. He's got Wild Growth on a Gemstone Cavern. First time I've ever seen that. And I can understand why he's got it in there, since the Derevi untaps give him access to 2 additional mana. Oh my god, Mystical Tutor arrives just in time. Okay, well, that does give me some outs here. I'm going to play the Soul Ring. I still don't have my Opal turned on, but this does at least allow me to blunt quite a bit of damage. Can save myself 7 and 3 on him drawing 3 cards right here with the Cryptic Command. Gotta just hope that he does not have a counterspell. If he has a counterspell here, I'm all but dead, I think. He's going to draw 3 additional cards, get a bunch of extra mana, completely untap, and he does not have a counter. Thank God. All right, and I draw Metamorph, which is also interesting. And he just plays a Breeding Pool untapped, and it's done. Why did he leave it untapped? 7 mana available. I figure maybe he's got Cyclonic Rift. So during upkeep, I'm going to Mystical Tutor here. I just read him for having Cyclonic Rift here, given that he's got 7 mana. And obviously this is a no-brainer. I'm just going to Mystical Tutor for Rolling Earthquake here. And so I gave a lot of thought behind this turn. And obviously I've got the play where I can tap Mountain and Soul Ring and take 2 damage and play Metamorph. And once I have the Metamorph in play, I can play it'll make 2 mana on the Soul Ring, and then I can play an Opal. And that leaves me basically in the same spot with 3 additional mana in play. And I have the ability to Rolling Earthquake for the same amount of 4. But I'm thinking about it and I decide that this may be more useful down the road to copy Derevi potentially, just to have a 2/3 flying blocker. Because I often find that if you can just stymie this 1 attack per turn, it can save you a lot of trouble. So as much as I would like to get more mana into play, I feel like I already have enough. I can cast the Rolling Earthquake to wipe out all the creatures regardless. Obviously, there's no way I can really play around a counterspell like Daze anyway. I kind of have to just assume he doesn't have anything. And if he does have, in fact, a Cyclonic Rift, then not paying 2 life to put a Metamorph into play and develop my mana further, I don't get punished for that. I don't take 2 extra damage. So with that in mind, I decide I'm just going to take the conservative route here and just cast the Earthquake for 4 rather than doing the tricky stuff. And that way I can keep the Metamorph for later in case a more juicy target shows up besides a mana source. And I'm thinking, please resolve, and it does. Whew. All right. And of course, because of his bullshit commander, he can just fly and just put it right back into play. There's no getting rid of that. All right, he has no other play at all. Why did he leave? Why did he take 2 off his Breeding Pool? I guess he just didn't care about his life. He plays Survival of the Fittest. Okay. And I'm thinking, oh, the nasty, horrible range of things he must be able to have to use that on. I'm thinking probably worst case scenario for me would be something like Acidic Slime, which would kill off the Soul Ring, and I'd be super punished for not making the play last turn. But instead, he gets Azami. I mean, I guess I understand why he's got Azami in his deck. Derevi's a wizard. Obviously, Azami's a wizard. He's got some other wizards in here. Edric's not. That thing's not. But the ability to tap and untap your guys is pretty insane with Azami. So you can draw a lot of extra cards with it. So I can understand why he's got the card in his deck. And right here, he's got exactly enough mana to cast Azami post-combat. All right, then. Force of Will. Very, very nice. Okay, well, really my choices here are I can do the Metamorph play to get more mana into play, and I've dealt with the Linvala problem, and then I can try to resolve a Cyclonic Rift. But this is two extra cards a turn. I'm sure he'll actually probably draw in lieu of attacking with Derevi, although I guess it can untap itself, so he can actually attack and draw a card off of it. So with that in mind, I decide I think I'm going to actually just copy his Azami. It just seems to make the most sense here. And I've got Force of Will, so I'm going to copy the Azami. That resolves. I can play the Opal, which is now turned on thanks to Azami being an artifact wizard. And this allows me to play Nin the Pain Artist, actually. I'm going to draw first. I've learned my lesson from my Azami loss a while ago. And I draw Jace the Mind Sculptor, which is really, really interesting, actually. As much as I would have liked to have played, Nin the Pain Artist. And I think before I drew the Jace, my plan was to play Nin and then just cast Cyclonic Rift to put the Azami back into his hand before it gets out of control, and then try to force it on the way back out. But now that I've drawn Jace, that gives me an even better option, a reusable one, in fact. All right. And puts that back into his hand. He does have triple blue, though, so recasting a zombie shouldn't be a problem. But we'll see what he does. Alright. So he casts Sword of Feast and Famine, which I expect he probably just got right off the top. And seeing as how that makes me discard a blue card anyway, and it untaps all of his land, and actually this puts him in a dilemma. He only has 4 mana available, which means that he's going to have to make a choice between attacking into Jace or recasting as a zombie. And if he attacks me, then that's going to give me the ability to get extra counters on Jace to make it more resilient. But to me, this is a no-brainer. I'm just going to Force Will, and I'm going to use the Cyclonic Rift for that. Even though it means I lose the ability. I'm getting a little bit low in life. I'm going to have to watch that. I'm down to just 10 now. He does, in fact, attack me. And I fully expected him to just replay his Azami here to draw a card, which I would not have actually minded at all, because I could bounce. I could have bounced as Azami, play Nin, and have counter magic. And sure, I'd lose my Jace the Mind Sculptor, but I have counter magic and the ability to draw 2 extra cards a turn. And he throws the Azami away, which is a really strange play. And then he casts Stasis. Weird. Okay, and what did he get? He got Fey Burrow Elder. Interesting. Yeah, well, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's a bit like it's like a bigger version of that. What is the thing called? The name is eluding me. The 1/1 that I actually run in the Edric deck and some of the other Bant decks that gives you mana equal to the number of permanents you control. The name's eluding me. It's a very, very powerful card, but that guy's kind of like a little miniature version of that. Very strange for him to go and tutor for that, though. And then, so he's got Stasis in play and only 2 blue mana sources, and his creature is tapped, and he doesn't have a secondary creature in play. And I'm thinking, oh, that's kind of annoying, but it's not really that bad. Oh, and then he riffs my Jace, because I was thinking, wow, if he's like trapped under Stasis, I'm just going to bounce Derevi back to his hand. And he doesn't even have a way to untap it or anything. But unfortunately, he does have a bounce thing, so we're just going to be in Stasis for a little while. Bloom Tender, that's the name of the card. Bloom Tender. Sorry, it's late. It's like almost 3 a.m. All right, he pays for Stasis. He's fully tapped out. Like, what was the plan here exactly? I really have to wonder. Like, Proc, I get that you're playing with Stasis in your deck because it's a good combo with Derevi, but you do actually need other creatures in play that are attacking as well. Or you need Sword of Feast and Famine or something. Anyway, this did not work out for him. Maybe he just thought he still had the Sword of Feast and Famine in play. But he did draw Command Tower, so we're going to be in Stasis for another turn. I draw Ponder, and I figure, well, the Stasis is going away here anyway, barring something crazy like a Chain of Vapor. So I'm going to Ponder right now. And I see Counterspell, Mana Leak, and Vault. Those are all quite nice. I'm going to leave them on top, putting Counterspell on top. Since I should have access to my mana pretty soon, and having another hard counter in hand is really, really good insurance. All right, back to his turn. So at this point, he's got to let Stasis go away. Like, he just has to. It's insane to pay for it. Like, tapping out to pay for Stasis when your opponent gets the next untap is just crazy. I mean, maybe he's just gambling on drawing islands for the next 5 turns in a row. But he does not do that. And now I'm going to fully untap before he does. So yeah, a lesson will be learned from this game. If you're playing with Stasis, don't just play it when you don't have tons of blue mana sources untapped and you have no game plan to get it back into your hand. It just does absolutely nothing. All right, well, Stasis is toast. We're out of that nightmare. And he drew Brushland. Turn too late. All right. And let's see what we get here. Oh, that's right, it's going to be the Mana Vault. Cool. All right, I'm just going to draw. Arid Mace is pretty nice. All right, so I'm just playing Jace. And I'm going to just bounce his guy back to his hand. This is just to buy some time. I just want to stall. And, that was rather interesting, actually. I'm quite surprised. I mean, I guess I'm doing this because I'm sitting on Leak plus Counterspell, because he's got a lot of mana available, and I just figured that it wouldn't be worthwhile to play Nin yet. But in retrospect, I think I probably should have just played Nin the Pain Artist there. I don't think that, barring outside of his commander, I don't think that he has a lot of double threat things that I'd have to play. I was pretty concerned about Survival of the Fittest, though, given all the things that could generate. He's got Gilded Drake in his hand. Wow, okay. Well, that's not so great against Jace the Mind Sculptor, at least. And he fetched up Stoneforge Mystic. Brutal, okay. No, that's certainly something I'm going to have to counter here. And I'm just going to dissolve it. And of course, right on the top of my deck is Dak Faden to go and steal whatever he fetched. But of course, I can't know that. I'm going to leave Dak on top. I think it's good insurance. I've seen a couple of good artifacts, and he just slams the Derevi into play to untap his land to generate 2 mana. And he casts Eldritch Evolution. Wow. And this would have fetched a 5. I don't really know what's in his deck, but I feel like I really can't take the risk. As much as I wish I could have been able to mana leak this, but he did the play where he untapped his land prior, which is pretty cool. Eldritch Evolution, obviously very powerful card with commanders that you can put into play forever, over and over again cheaply. It's sort of like the same thing, probably at its best in a deck with Tasigur, the Golden Fang. You can go and fetch an 8 and put it directly into play like a Terastodon. It's just really nuts. But Derevi quite good, and obviously I've run the tutor that requires you to, I think it's called Diabolic Intent, the one that allows you to sack a creature to go fetch any card. So good in the Yuriko deck, obviously. And Eldritch Evolution, a card you don't see played very often, extremely good in Derevi. I'm going to have to counter that, of course. So I'm rewarded for not playing Nin. I just knew he'd play 2 backbreaking cards in the same turn. And now he follows up sheepishly with this Feyburrow Elder, which I cannot believe he played, given the fact that it's only a 2/2, and surely he's got better creatures in his deck that he could fetch with Survival. All right. Well, I've got 2 cards for Forbid. He's got no cards in hand. We're in pretty good shape. I'm just going to play Nin here. And I Fate Seal him because I'd like to get some counters on Jay so he can't just attack into it. And I see a Gavany Township on top of his deck, which I elect to put on the bottom because I don't want him to be able to pump up counters on Derevi or anything annoying like that. Basically, I've got counter magic to deal with spells, so lands are more threatening right now. Especially considering my life title. Like, if he plays his guy and Gavany Townships it, and then he Gavany Townships it a second time, it hits me for 4, and I'm almost dead just from that. I'm given that I'm down to 6. I do have to really watch my life total here. He has 1 card in hand, he's attacking. And he actually attacks me directly, and I decide to just take it. That's not worth chump blocking yet. So end step, draw a card. Get a relatively useless Condescend and draw again. Talisman of Creativity, okay. Island is pretty nice. So now I'm going to, since he didn't attack into Jace, I can actually brainstorm here. And I get Muddle. Wow, excellent. All right, so I'm at 4 life right now. I don't currently have a solution to his stupid commander, but Muddle, because of the many interlocking tutor chains in the deck, gives me an out. Muddle the Mixture allows me to get Merchant Scroll, which allows me to fetch an instant, which of course is Whir of Invention. So that is very timely to see that. I'm going to put an island and the other card back. And I'm just going to transmute the Muddle right now to get Merchant Scroll. So there it is right there. I'm going to go fetch it right now. And I do not do anything else. I decide I'm actually going to... I could play the Mana Vault here and then do Whir for 3 at the end of the turn, but I feel like that's just too risky to do. And plus, if he plays his Derevi, he can tap the Mana Vault and force me to use it, and then it just becomes a liability when I'm only at 4. So I'm electing to just hold the Mana Vault for now. And sure enough, end of turn, just flies this guy out for free. It's pretty insane. And he taps my Nin, so I'm just going to draw with that. Gilded Lotus. Damn. Well, that would have been a nice thing to play off Mana Vault. Fortunately, I'm just going to have to throw it away right now. I just don't see a window to be able to actually play the card. Right now, given how stressed my life total is. I mean, he's got 5 points of damage in play, and I'm at 4. He only has 1 card in hand, thank God. But I was thinking if there's anything he could fetch creature-wise with Survival that I wouldn't be able to respond to that would allow him to bounce or tap my Azami and kill me. Since I don't have the ability to whir for anything. But he's attacking with both of these. Now I just have to chump block with Azami. Draw. Amnesia. Not too happy to see that. All right, take 2. Down to 2 life. And he's tapping my land. That's fine. There's 1 card in hand. All right. I'm going to brainstorm during instep. Archmage's Charm is pretty nice to see, and the Arcane Signet, I'm going to put the Amnesia back. Obviously, I don't need that. Any other artifact? All right. I'm at 2. But due to Word of Invention, I am not dead here. He's got 1 card in hand. Okay. So I'm going to bounce the creature. Obviously, I have to do that just to cut down on what's on board. I'm going to play Mana Vault here. And we'll see what happens. And during end step, he uses Survival. So he's throwing away the Fey-Burrow Elder, and he fetches Aven Mind Sensor. Huh, interesting. Well, my friend, the trick is to play this in response to me casting Whir, not just preempting it. Because then I can respond by playing Whir of Invention. So I do that. I'm going to Whir for 3. That's a no-brainer. Shackles. All right, I don't need to search anymore. I'm going to grab the Aven Mind Sensor. He's attacking me for lethal. Unfortunately, I've got a flying blocker. He just plays a land. Adakar wastes. Okay. Obviously, untap the Shackles. I'm going to pay 2 or 4 mana to untap the Mana Vault. All right, deck. Vandal Blast. Not the best. All right, I'm just going to draw 3 here. Workshop and an island. Okay, well, I can put the Vandal Blast and the island back and use my workshop to play some more stuff. I'm a little reluctant to throw cards out of my hand. I do have 1 hard counter, but I'd like to keep some Forbid fuel around, although I'm going to have a Nin-fueled card draw here. And I just need to make sure that I've got mana available to grab whatever he plays, and I've got multiple counter spells in hand. I'm going to be able to start potentially shooting the Derevi. Actually, that's a little dangerous, because if I kill the Derevi, that allows him to put it back into play at the end of my turn and kill me with it when the Shackles are tapped. So I need to be careful about that. So he sacks the Verdant Catacombs. All right, and during his upkeep, before he even draws, and this is in case he happens to draw something like Krosan Grip. Obviously, I'm probably dead anyway if he draws Krosan Grip, but at least if he does have Krosan Grip, then I have his creature in play on my side for a turn, so he can't actually... Actually, I think I did let him draw. That was probably a mistake. Well, my intention, I think, was to grab it before he could Krosan Grip, and then I would it would prevent him from being able to attack that one turn, and I'd be able to get a pretty gigantic Nin activation off, and I might be able to draw into more bounce or potentially more theft in the form of the Treachery. So he has an interesting play here. He casts Crop Rotation. And given the fact that Crop Rotation could mean that he has Homeward Path, which I could definitely see in his deck. I realize I can't let that happen, so I'm just going to hard counter it with Archmage's Charm. And then he has Veil of Summer, this card that ran roughshod over Standard for a while, apparently causing everybody fits. It is pretty insane. Draw a card, and if opponents cast a blue or black spell, spells you control can't be countered, and you and permanents you control gain hexproof and pro blue and black. What an insane card for 1 green. That card is just insane. All right, fortunately, he's out of cards in hand, and I have Forbid with buyback. And that is the match. He realizes he's screwed. I'm going to grab a hold of Derevi, and now I've got Jace and Nin, and I've got his Derevi in play, and really no prospects for him to get out of this. Plus, I've got Forbid with buyback, and he's got 0 cards left in hand. That looks like pretty much a hard lock with the Nin deck, and declare victory. Very, very cool game. In tons of trouble early, and had to make some tough choices with regards to some tutors and mana development and Rolling Earthquake, but that's the way this deck is. Often the games hinge on 1 or 2 life points. As you can see, I'm at 2, and if anything had gone a little bit differently that game, I could have wound up losing this game. Like, honestly, taking the 2 damage to play the... well, I guess I ultimately took 2 from it anyway when I played. I was thinking about the Metamorph later that I copied the Azami with. But you never really know. I might have wound up taking a couple extra points of damage here or there, and that would have made the difference in the game. Hope you guys like that one. I'll keep playing, and I did see some recommendations for decks to play, so it looks like some people wanted to see Breya. So I think I'll have some Breya games coming up for you soon. Other than that, stay safe, stay healthy. See you guys soon.